cost of gas. So, you know, it starts also there as well, because we need people to speak up. We need people to actually say, hey, I'm willing to take this job for $23 an hour, you know, starting, but, you know, I have a vision to work towards a certain goal, and allow the people within that department to really assist these people to make sure that not only are we bringing in people to hire, but we're retaining people, we're moving people up, we're allowing new people to come in, gain new skills, and we're growing our city where people want to stay here.
Right. Now, that's very important. And I think that one of the main things that you said there was that when you're being the voice of the people, you're only the voice. You need the body of the people to be present so that it can be amplified, and that the other people that's in charge that don't really fully understand the issues and the problems that concern our communities, that they can amplify that voice and make sure that the support and the body of what you're saying is actually present to push those things forward in regards to the things that the community needs most. And if they're not present, to come to those meetings on a consistent basis and be the amplification of the voice and be the body of the voice that your seat holds, then it's harder. It becomes even more challenging to get those things done within the community. So that says a very important thing, that yes, he's the voice of the people that's put in that office, but the people still need to be present in order to make these things come to fruition, especially when it deals with our community. So we got to show up for these meetings, show up for these council meetings consistently to make sure that we get the things done that we need done within our communities.
So just to build off that real quick, because then there's, you know, times where mismessaging happens, where, for example, you have a mismessaging of policing now, where the message is that communities don't want policing, that they don't want police in their communities. For a lot of people that come into our meetings in our Black communities or in lower income communities, that is not, when you get them in person and they come out, that's not what they're saying. They're saying we want more policing. We still feel like we're being attacked or we're being bullied on our street because I have to come home from work at 9 o'clock at night and there's 3, 4, 5, 6 people sitting on my steps, you know, and they're intimidating me as I go into my apartment because I'm telling them you need to remove yourself from my steps. But when they decide not to, and you call the police because now it's 1 o'clock in the morning and they're blasting music outside, you can't sleep, you're afraid to go outside. If you're an elderly person, you know, you're not saying we don't want police in our communities. You're coming into our meeting saying, no, this is a problem. We need you to do something about this. And so the mismessaging creates a confusion for other communities because they think when they look at this community, oh no, they were protesting, they were doing all these different things, you know, they're against this as well. So we need to also say no policing, or we want a different type of style of policing when a community that has been disenfranchised for decades, who has not seen the attention that it rightly deserves, says that it's still having issues, to take those police away from that community is only hurting it, because those who are taking advantage of the system will continue to take advantage of the system. And without the proper oversight, without the proper policing enforced, the cycle of violence, the cycle of vandalism, and all these different things continues to happen until the people in the community come out and say, this is what we're standing on. This is our beliefs. This is what we want to see for our own community. Until that happens, you're going to have people who are
trying to
minimizing
go from one extreme to the next. You know what I'm saying? It's either none or all.
Exactly.
But it has to be a balance. I think the key factor in that, and what you just said was, you know, it's the style, you know, that sometimes people are objective of, you know, or objecting to in regards to policing, because it has to be community policing more so than overseeing policing. I think that that's the major difference, because when you have community policing, those things stop, where police officers are able to have a relationship with even the people that's on the corner that may be offending the elderly person or
Sure.
the person that's trying to get into their home or causing disruption in the neighborhood. If you have community policing where everybody knows everybody, everybody has respect for everybody position that's in the community, whether it's the elderly, whether it's the policeman, or whether it's somebody that's running a business. All of those things are understood and everybody works together to make sure that the peace is maintained. So when you have policing that actually works with the community instead of coming in to oversee the community, I think that's the major difference that needs to take place, and the relationships need to be established with both the residents and the police. That way you will have a better flow of how they interact, and a better job will get done on both parts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what made you want to get into politics to begin with?
So for me, it was deciding after college that I was going to be living here in the area, and I was working at different internships here in the South End throughout the city of Albany, more so focused in housing. And there was just a lot of issues that were going on at that time. This is like 2014, 2015 in Albany. We had a huge, homeless issue. We had still like housing issue that was going on. There were things that were happening just business wise throughout the city of Albany that was concerning to me. A lot of businesses and things going out of business around that time or leaving. And I said, well, if I'm going to stay here, I'd rather be part of the solution than just be a person trying to stumble through life trying to figure things out. I'd rather be in the position to be able to create change and effect change in a meaningful way where the people around me and the city that I'm living in are benefiting from it.
Right. Now that's awesome, and that's commendable, because if you want to see things change, you got to first look at yourself to be able to do something about it. You can't just say that, point the finger at somebody else and say, hey, we need you to do X, Y, and Z. If you're not actually putting in the effort and the time and the energy to make some changes within the community that you live or the city that you live yourself. So that's very commendable, and I'm glad that you took that position and are moving forward with actually making some changes. Myself, as a business owner, moving forward, what things are you planning on doing to help businesses that's in the community receive more resources or have access to more resources from the city and the state or federally?
Yeah, sure. So over the last few years, there's been a few things that have been really important to me in trying to address. So I serve on like the finance committee, and on the finance committee, again, we're the committee who goes over the budget. We are the ones that anything that has to do with any finance the city is doing, we're reviewing that. And so it was very important to be a part of this committee to be able to understand how the money works in the city, how the money gets distributed, where the money is going. With that said, as I just mentioned a few minutes ago, one of the things that was concerning to me, which we are again seeing now, is the small businesses or just businesses leaving the city of Albany and closing down. My focus has been trying to support local and small businesses, one, by creating a space where they are connected to their representatives, where they are able to get information from the city, relate to them in a relatively convenient manner, whether that's just through email, text message, phone call, just passing off the information, dropping stuff off. But it's getting that information and being able to push that out and share that with people. The next thing that was also important within a small business was trying to get small businesses connected to grant opportunities. So the city of Albany has a arm called Capitalize Albany, that works with our small businesses and our business districts to assist new business owners and current existing owners in doing rehabs to their projects, or if they're trying to get signage outside, if they are looking for some type of loan to assist with expanding. But I had walked through my ward, speaking to every business owner, introducing myself to them, along with the people of Capitalize Albany, so that way they know, again, these are the people who are in charge of this. Right. When you have your concerns, these are the people that you can come to. This is their contact information. This is where their office is located, and being able to bridge that gap between communication. Right. The next thing we did was, or next thing I tried to focus on was expanding Black-owned businesses and trying to shed more light on the businesses that we have here. Right. So working with other business owners to create Black 518 Restaurant Week last year, and making it an official, week here in the city of Albany. So moving forward, we know, this week in June is Black Restaurant Week, and now
what's that week?
That is June 21st. So that's the week of Juneteenth. Okay. So June 21st or 20th to
ongoing is 518 Black Restaurant Week. So, very important.
Yes. So we're gearing up to get that going, but it's also learning from that was expanding it to not just restaurants, but Black businesses, period. Yes. And so now trying to create that relationship with the other businesses to pull them in. So that way, as we're doing promotion, as we're doing marketing, all these other business owners and shops have the ability to capitalize off that. And one of the goals from that is to build it to a point where I want to increase the food trucks here in the city of Albany. So been looking at legislation, working with different departments to figure out where we can expand our food trucks, whether that's downtown, whether that's midtown, up on Quail, further up, or, just in various parts around the park. But creating that type of environment where business owners, future entrepreneurs can find a way to create business and do something that they love doing here in the city of Albany. Awesome. And again, there's been discussions of just trying to have more or supporting our Black Expo Week, Business Week. So that's another thing that I've been supporting and making sure that I'm attending, making sure that people are aware of the resources there at that expo, and just highlighting the people and individuals who are taking on these tasks, because it's not easy. And again, when you don't have all the resources or connections needed, you're really, going off of faith, and you're really just, hard work and faith that is really getting you through, because even with these things going on, I'll meet people every day I haven't heard of this. Right. I didn't know this existed. Right. So there's still more work that has to be done in order to reach the masses, and making sure that at least a good majority of people know how to find this information. But as I mentioned before, it goes back to the person and accountability, where it's just if there's some information that you want to know or you need, you have to do some research. You have to go out and look. You have to be able to come to certain meetings to be able to get information, be in certain rooms to be able to make those connections. And so, these are all things that I think are doable. And I think as a council person, my support for small business is to make sure that they feel supported. And whatever it is that I can do or need to do, it's letting them know that, hey, you at least have someone that, regardless of the politics or red tape around things, I genuinely support what you're doing, and I'm trying to do whatever I can to support you. And I think that resonates a lot with people, because again, when it comes to government, usually people have some type of weary or distrust as to what's behind it. Right. So being able to be in this position is a blessing. It's something that I'm very grateful for every day, because when issues come up and I am able to solve or help that person, it means so much, where the gratitude itself is more rewarding than anything.
Right. Nah, that's commendable, and I thank you for being the Honorable Sergio Adams in Ward Number 7, giving this interview and taking the time out of your busy day to what's next for you in politics or just in life in general.
Right now, it is continuing to do the work. I was previously running for New York State Assembly, as I mentioned, and decided not to. And really, the decision came from just the responses that I got from the community in terms of them being very appreciative of the job that I'm doing. And so when you're doing a good job, you just want to keep doing it.
Right.
And it's trying to do a better job, learning more as a council person to try to be more effective. And also just, again, creating the resources needed to support my community in whatever way I can.
Yes.
So, you know, there's a lot on the way to, you know, showcase and for people to see. Getting ready for some voter registration events and trying to make sure that we're getting our people registered to vote, because that was another task and hurdle that we need to directly address, is getting our people to vote and getting them to understand the importance of voting and why it's very, 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 very necessary on a local level to vote. So looking forward to the rest of the year, because there are some great things planned. Always do my back to school book bag drive and school supplies drive, doing some things over the summer for the kids. So there's a lot of things coming, but again, with all these different things, we're always looking for help. We're always looking to partner with other local community members to make sure that we're making this as big as possible, making sure that we're able to reach as many people as possible. So being on the podcast today is definitely helpful, because your questions and your network of people, I think, will be able to see this and say, you know, let me start sharing this and getting this out, because there's a lot more people that can be utilizing this information to get what they need done.
Right, absolutely, and it will give them a greater understanding of what council persons actually do, their duties and responsibilities, and how they affect and impact them directly within the city. So I thank you for your time. I thank you for giving those answers, and continue to do the work.
Thank you, much appreciated.
Continue to do a great job, because you've already been very active in doing so.
Thank you.
I appreciate the time, and I appreciate your efforts in what you're doing in the community.
Always appreciate it. Thank you.
Sergio Adams, y'all. Ward 7.